Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some cute sailor hair bows. These bows come together pretty quick, they're pretty easy, they're adorable, and as you can see there are two different sizes. I've got a large size and a small size. So this is kind of like the difference in them. This one's a bit bigger than that one. Obviously it's a large versus a small, so it's going to be bigger, but that's about the size difference. And that one's a little bit wrinkled, so it's not exactly showing the best. Whoops, I should have ironed that. So I'll list all the materials and supplies in the description. You guys can go check that out. And you can get the pattern from my website or my Etsy shop. Let's dive in.
Take your bow pieces and fold it in half with right sides together. And you're gonna wanna pin it together so that it stays in place while you sew. You'll sew up the sides and leave the center open so that you can turn it. So probably about 2 inches here that you won't be sewing. Then you'll want to do the same thing with the tail piece. You're going to fold that in half with the right sides together and you're going to pin it in place. And we'll be doing the same thing here. We're gonna sew up the sides and a little bit on top, but we're gonna leave an opening so that we can turn it right side out. Take your center tab piece and fold it over 1/2 inch, and then fold it over on the other side 1/4 inch so they overlap. And then you'll want to iron that in place so that it stays there and doesn't move. And your right sides will be out here. You won't see any wrong side of the fabric. Then you take the bottom and you fold it up about 1/4 inch, and then you iron that one in place. And be careful not to burn your fingers. This is a lot of dealing with a hot fabric. Okay, and so this is what you should have by the end of it. This 1/4 inch won't stay down, and that's okay. That's not a big deal. I'm stopping right about here so I can skip over this part and then start again right here and sew down this side and around the corner. Take your tail piece and put it in the sewing machine. You're going to do the same thing with that we just did with the bow piece. We're just going to sew up and around the corner just a little ways, and then we're going to skip and then start sewing again. After you've sewn your bow and your tail piece, this is what they should look like. There should be a gap on both pieces so that you can turn them right side out. It's okay if the gap is a little bit off-centered, that's not gonna hurt anything. Before we move on to ironing this tail piece, make sure you clip the corners because that will give you much sharper corners. So now what you're gonna do is you're just going to reach in, you're gonna open it up, reach in, and grab it and pull it all right side out. I usually like to grab a pen or just something with a little bit of a blunt end to help push out the corners a little bit more. I find it's just a little bit easier for me that way. And you're gonna have this opening here, and that is just fine. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take that over to the ironing board and we're gonna iron this all down in place. And we'll do the same thing with the tail piece. Just pull it all to the right side. You want all the right side of the fabric to come through so that you don't see any more of the wrong side of the fabric. I think the pen is probably most handy on this tail piece because those little corners are a little bit harder to get to with just your fingers. And if it's like really hard to get to, you could probably also take a toothpick or something, just something smaller, and try to push it out a little bit more. Sometimes you can wiggle it out too. And we're just gonna do the same thing with this. We're gonna take it over to the ironing board and iron it all flat. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and then I'll show you what's next. Now that we have everything ironed, you're gonna take your bow piece and you're gonna fold it in half. And then you're gonna sew down this side with 1/4 inch seam allowance. So make sure all your edges are lined up so that it comes out more even. And this is what you should have when you're done. So the time I can kind of adjust it how I need to and how I want to. So, and there it is.
And that's all there is to making these sailor hair bows. So it's fairly quick, it's pretty easy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I will catch you in the next one.